Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Tia.
And I'm your host, Koya.
Welcome to the Wig Life Podcast.
For wig lovers and wearers navigating life.
Because it's not just wigs, it's life.
Let's get into the episode. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Wig Life Podcast.
Hello.
You guys, I am really excited about this episode, okay? I love every episode and I get excited about every episode. So I'm going to say this, and I love all my wig babes. I love everybody in the YouTube wig community. I really do. But Meekah Lynne, who is our guest today, is my favorite wig YouTuber.
Woo!
Okay? The girl slays the hairlines. Okay. My girl has been featured on allure.com and she is a Bay Arean. Okay. So for you guys who know what a Bay Arean is, that is people from Northern California, the Bay Area. We have our own little language culture. And Meekah is that. So shout out to all the Bay Areans listening, watching. Meekah's in the building. Tia's in the building.
I'm not from the Bay Area.
No, it's not, but you know, we just make you an honorary Bay Area for today.
I'll be there soon. There soon.
Yes. So welcome, Meekah, to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yes. So this podcast, Meekah is going to be breaking it down about, you know, growing a YouTube channel, her experience being just a content creator. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. So Meekah, what brought you to wearing wigs? Like, how did you start wearing wigs from the first place?
It's so funny because when I first started wearing wigs, I really wasn't into them as much. And at the time, I had just given birth to my son. Postpartum had set in really, really bad. And it was to the point where I was in therapy. And my therapist asked me, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And it took me a minute and I was like, I don't have any hobbies. There's nothing that I really like to do. She was like, get a hobby. Find something that's going to keep you busy. Find a passion. So I came home. Of course, at the time, this was like Facebook was still new. Groups were still developing. Mm-hmm. And this one lady out of one group that I was in that was just totally different from wigs. She was like, how about I add you to, you know, this group and you can kind of test it out. So I did that and I bought my first wig, which was Free Tress's Marvel. I think it was Free Tress Marvel. And I fell in love. The fact that it was blonde, you know, it was long, it looked good. And I was like, holy cow. You mean tell me I can put this on and I ain't got to do nothing to my hair underneath? Right. So I was sold after that. So big thank you to the therapist. Big thank you to my depression because it definitely got me to where I am like right now.
So what led you into getting onto YouTube then?
That was thanks to the Beauty Palace. So the budget friendly, I think it was the budget friendly Beauty Palace. And that was on Facebook. This goes back to like 2016. Okay. This was like way back when. And it was started by Her Style or Olivia. And she's like my wig, like fairy godmother, because she was literally the first YouTuber that I watched. So that group that I was talking about, that was her group that I originally started in. And I had no idea about YouTube. You know, I had heard little bits and pieces about it, but it really wasn't on my radar. So when she posted, I think she posted Marvel, and I looked at her and I was like, and so she had a link up top and I clicked it and I was looking like, wait a minute, you can upload this type of stuff on here? So I didn't have the confidence at the time. And I think I went from watching Her Style and then I watched like the real OG, like wig reviewers, Colored Beautiful. She was online. There's some other ladies that I can't even think of their name, but they're like the veterans of YouTube. Yeah. So I started watching them And then of course I started watching Aya all day, and she did a couple of units that I really, really just fell in love with. And then I thought, like, okay, maybe I can try this. So no lie, in this window right here, I took
Mhm.
my little ghetto Metro phone. I got some real thick duct tape, taped it to the window, and that's all I used for like the first maybe year or so. And then it just so slowly progressed from there. So it just happened to happen, you know. I just happened to
Wow.
see her link, and boom, rest is history.
So how long have you been doing YouTube now then?
So I've been on YouTube for about maybe 6 years or so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But 6 years I started my channel. I've only really been consistent maybe for like the last 4 years.
It's interesting that you say that because, you know, you were one of the first people I came across, and that I was, you know, watching, and I would like how you would do the intro, and I was like, oh, she is giving hair, she is giving face, she's giving body, and I was like, I want to, I could do that. Like, yeah, so you definitely were one of the people that inspired me. It was like you and Brittany from the Hearts and Cake 90, and
Yes.
Girl Rates World, who doesn't upload.
That's who I couldn't think of. Yes.
She was like OG.
Yeah.
Total
Oh
like
my
side note.
God.
I don't know what happened to her. I have searched to try to figure out what happened to her for so long. But she was definitely, yeah, the three of you. I mean, I would just binge and binge.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's an honor, because I actually started off watching Girl Waits World, and then I started watching Brittany, and I think I watched Brittany a little bit after I started my channel is when I discovered her. Wow. How about
Yes.
that?
You out here influencing us with these wigs. I'm telling you guys, if you have not seen Meekah's videos, you need to watch her channel. Of course, we will have everything in the show notes for those of you listening, and we'll have her channel, of course, on the description box for the YouTube channel. But yes, Meekah is the bomb. I kid you not. She's really the bomb. So what has been the hardest part of YouTube, would you say? What has been the hardest part of your journey on YouTube?
The hardest part, of course, as a woman in the real world, you
Yeah.
know, I think when it comes to beauty, it's a very sensitive topic for us.
Mm-hmm.
Hair is a very sensitive topic for us, especially African American or Black women.
Yes. Yes.
And I think the hardest thing is not comparing yourself to others, which you can definitely do in the beginning, you know, when you're first starting off and the footage is kind of busted and disgusted, you know, and you messing up and you over plucking and you doing all this stuff, or maybe you're doing it 100% right and the traffic is just not coming, you know, and you may see, you know, XYZ channel and they started at the same time and they're at like 200,000 and you're still trickling along at your 24,000, and you kind of get in your head like, well, what am I doing wrong? You know,
Yes.
I think that's probably the hardest part, is just being true to yourself. Definitely not letting your influencers influence you to the point where you're almost mirroring what they are in their journey.
Subconsciously.
Yes. So definitely just being authentic and not comparing yourself to others.
I love that you said that about the influencing, because there's something that I did, and some people actually messaged me and were kind of like having feels about it. Is, you know, Ikoya and I bond because we have a love for diving into what we do and how to do it and processes and making it, you know, like we treat these as a business side, even if it's a side, like, so we had always bonded because of that. Like, we were like, hey, did you see this video? Did you go to Think Media? Are you but the thing that the one advice I got from somebody in a different community is that she unsubscribed from everybody in her community unless it was somebody that she was personally supporting, or, you know, was her mentor. She's like, I went through and unsubscribed from everybody in my genre. She said, because the comparison was getting to me. I was starting to feel, she was more of the how to make money on YouTube type of person. I think it was Aaron on Demand. Maybe it was. I think she said she unsubscribed from everyone. And
Mm.
she did that so that she didn't start emulating too much, or just like, oh, this video went viral for them, so if I do that video, because you can get in that cycle, or they're uploading 3 times a week, so I have to upload 3 times a week. And I did that. And you and Ikoya, I did not subscribe from you. But I did get some people actually message me and they were like, why you're not subscribed to me, like, why?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm so
like,
glad
I
you
just
said
can't.
that, because it's one reason, and I feel terrible saying this, but it's one reason why I try to refrain from watching too many people
Yeah.
that are in the same genre, because, and especially because we do a lot of the same units.
Yeah.
So when they come out, if I haven't done my review yet, I like to go in with a blind reaction. And let's say, for instance, I might watch Akoya, I might watch Tia, and maybe Akoya loves the unit, maybe Tia loves the unit, and they may point out the things that they like. Then when I go to do my review, my influencer has influenced how I already feel about the unit. You know what I'm saying? So I know it can come off as like shade, or maybe I'm too good, but for me, it's a mental space, because I don't want to take from someone else. You know what I'm saying? I want to just be authentically me, and I don't want to let my influencers influence me.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I know I will try to wait until I at least record my review too before I watch other people too sometimes. And then sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes I just like, I want to see, is it good when I get it?
Right.
But I agree with you. You do have to be careful. I think especially for those of you who are just listening, who may just be starting off in YouTube, until you can really, because there's so much you have to master behind the scenes.
Right.
That when you get in front of the camera, you kind of emulate the people you watch, or the things that you like. So it takes a little bit of time to get to, you know, who you are and what you want to do anyway.
Right.
But I do think that, you know, once you start getting your rhythm, that is something I think too, you know, you have to make sure that you're trying to be authentically you and not, you know, being too influenced, because
Right.
nobody can do you better than you. So
Definitely.
that's something I had to learn too. Like, okay, Quay, you bring something different. So it's
Right.
okay to bring what you bring, because people, I know I don't just watch one review of a wig. Like you said, people watch many, because everybody has a different take, or
Right.
different experience, or maybe a different color. So yeah, there's power in that.
That's a great place. Like, so what do you think is your different? Like, what do you think you bring to this space that is needed, and that you can lean into because it's authentically you?
I'm goofy. I have a weird laugh. I say weird things on camera. I'm not really quite a nerd, but I'm not really an intellect. I'm kind of the goofy, just kind of she knows something type of person, and I know there's other people out there who can relate.
Yes.
I quote movies and I quote TV shows. It's part of my, personality. I have one thing that I say, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And that came from, I can't think of his name, but
Oh yeah,
you know his name. It's on your tongue.
it
It's
is.
on your tongue. I know it's on mine too. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
From The Office, right? Where he was like, when, or not, was it The Office? I can see
It was
him.
also the actor.
He's from the Middle East.
Is it Will
Ferrell?
No, he's
Okay.
from not Emilio Estevez, not Charlie Sheen. Is it Charlie Sheen? It might be Charlie Sheen.
Okay.
I can't remember, but I just saw him one day say winner, winner, chicken dinner, and it stuck with me. But that's one thing now I say on my channel, So I feel like I bring just, I don't want to say a comedic relief. I don't want anyone laughing at me, but it's a chance to like just see a wig, get a couple of laughs in, release some endorphins, and just have a sense of like brightness to your life.
One thing that I really love about your channel, and one thing, I follow you everywhere. I'm a fan.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Not like in life. not
Yeah,
like
yeah. No,
at her
on
house.
social media, on social media now. I'm stalking social media, not in real life.
Be careful, because
Right,
nowadays she might be like,
right. People
"What's
like,
going
where's the stalker? But I follow you on the different platforms, and I know from your videos you share a lot about what was going on as far as like health and your depression, battles with depression, different things. And I know you share a lot of that on all your platforms, not just on YouTube, but on Facebook as well. And I really love that. I think that's so honorable. But I think for most people, social media is a highlight reel. You know, they're showing you
Right.
the best of them.
on?"
And so, like, I remember when you said, "I do my laugh because it's my nerves. It's kind of like a little thing to help me deal with my nervousness."
Right.
And I was like, wow, because I'm just thinking you laugh, and you never know. So I think that's really one of the other things that makes you like. I love about your channel is that you're not afraid to show that. So what gives you the guts to do that? Because most people are like, I'm putting my highlight reel. I'm not putting that I don't feel good today or whatever. What gives you the courage, or where
Right.
did you share that?
It touches back on the hardest part of starting YouTube is comparing yourself to others. And and this is no shade to anybody,
Yeah.
but I did notice that, especially with the higher up channels, like the
Mhm.
400K, 500K channels, as much as I loved them, it was always roses and cherries. You're always on camera smiling. You're always looking your best. Your makeup's always in place. And for me, that's just not, it's not realistic. It's not how I am throughout the day. And I did also notice that in the comments of my videos, I would have women who would say, "Oh, I wish I had this. I wish I looked like you. I wish,
Mhm.
I could pull this off." And they're comparing themselves to me, and I consider myself flawed as well.
Mhm.
So I never wanted to come on camera and portray this life that I don't have. I go to Walmart. Sometimes my shirt's got a spaghetti stain on it.
Right.
Sometimes my socks don't match and one toe's got a hole in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I overpluck a wig and sometimes one eyebrow will be higher than the other. It's just natural. We go through things in life, especially as women.
Yes.
And I think if you can see someone else embrace their flaws and keep it moving, then it gives you
Mhm.
the courage to keep it moving.
Yeah. 100%. I agree.
Well, I think that also speaks to, do you think that has, that some of that has to do with the evolution of YouTube, that since you've been on it? Because I noticed that my channel didn't really start growing until I stopped editing out me being goofy, or me saying
Hmm.
scoop it up, or me do it like, I would have people, when I would do like a casual video, comment that they wanted to see more of that. And I was really like in the hype, that highly produced, that highly stylized,
Right.
like I wanted the intro and the this and the, I wanted to do all that. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but I think I almost held myself back because, like you're saying, I wasn't relatable or accessible enough. And it was too like, okay, I've got to do this. But I have
Right.
seen also that trend on YouTube change, because it was really the beauty guru, the whole like putting things
Yeah.
behind the hand and the whole, and I
Hmm.
feel like, what do you, how is your experience changed as your channel evolved, but as YouTube has evolved as well?
I think when I first started, um, a lot of people may or may not remember, but when YouTube first started, especially when it came to people like Mahogany Knots, Natural 85, Her Style, these were women who literally put their phone up and they stood in front of their shower curtain in the bathroom.
Right.
They didn't
Right.
have any fancy lights. The footage a lot of times was grainy, it was yellow, it was blurry, and it was more personal. It was
Yeah.
very, very much more personable. And I think once advertisers hooked on to YouTube, and of course, they want a certain look, they
Mm-hmm.
desire a certain feel, of course, certain channels did evolve. They got the money behind them. So, of course, brainstorming, how can I stand out? Lighting. Let me improve my lighting. How can I stand out more? Let me get a camera. okay, well, what if I take it up a notch and I do this and I do my decor? And it only takes a couple of, channels to do that before it has a trickle effect. And
Right.
now everybody's doing the high end content, And I
Yeah.
think it was good post Pandeezy because we were more into the materialistic aspect of YouTube. And now that we are in an era where eggs are like $12 a damn carton,
Right.
people are kind of, they're tuning back into what's more important. And what's more important is the connection that you have with the person. I don't care about your lighting. Of course, it's going to help you see the hairline, but I care more about how you make me feel and how
Yeah.
I can relate to you. If
Mhm.
you're in your $1 million mansion and you're talking about a $12 wig, it's not going to deliver. It's not going to give, what it needs to give for the audience that you're intended for.
Yeah, I agree. It's not gonna hit the same.
Right.
I also know you changed your name from Wigs to Wastelands to Meekah Lynne. Is that part of why you did that? Change your YouTube name and change your social name, or
Yeah. I think, when you start YouTube, especially when you're small, everything is like, you kind of feel like the little mouse among giants, and you're doing everything to be like, hey, here I am. You want to stick
right.
out. And when I did Wigs to Wasteland, I don't know, I was just brainstorming and I came up with it. And I really didn't like it because it was too long, but I kept it anyway. And then over the years, what I found was when I came on camera and I said Wigs to Wasteland, I started to detach from it a little bit. Like it was a separate identity that I really wasn't relating with. Like if I'm talking to my girlfriend on, the phone, I'm not gonna say, hey, it's Wigs to Wasteland. I'm gonna say, hey, it's Meekah,
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
up? Call me back. So it just slowly evolved from that name just really detaching from me and me wanting to be a little bit more natural and a little bit more relatable. So yeah.
yeah. And I have noticed that as a trend, like especially people who started YouTube longer and been on it longer. Like everybody had their internet name, like
Yes.
Chocolate 145, and all these different names. And now everybody is kind of, now that we know what YouTube is more, now it's a thing. People are getting more into, okay, I can really be who I am online too. Because I remember back in the
Right.
day, like you had your MySpace name and you had
Right.
your name, but now, like, I'm seeing more and more people coming into it with their real names and who they are. Because I think, like you guys said, I think people are wanting to be able to relate to people more. And you can't really relate to, like you said, I'm not calling people like, this is Silky Sax. So exactly.
Right.
I
And it
agree.
also touch on to how your influencers influence you. So Girl Race World, my OOG name was Wig Life World. See?
Oh,
Oh
So
wow.
I see how I piggybacked off of her.
wow.
And
Right.
that's kind of had that trickle effect. And then it just evolved to, okay, you know what? I'm not her. This is me. This is just me.
Yes. Yes.
So my name evolved because I've been on YouTube a hot minute, and it's really interesting that you say, about not comparing yourself and things like that, because I'm not as big as other YouTubers, especially ones that started right when I did, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like everybody has a different path and a different thing. Mine evolved because I actually started as a makeup channel. And so my channel was Everyday Monet. I was trying to be like Everyday Monet, like just trying to be like that girl or whatever. But then when I moved into the wigs, it kind of really didn't make sense. And I was doing a lot of studying on YouTube and things. And for me, it was a branding thing that it would lock me in too much. Like Everyday Monet didn't necessarily mean things to other people. It also would lock me in. And I have seen a lot of people like are bigger. They're at 200,000 subscribers or more, and they're now changing their name to their name because they're understanding that as we are here, we're going to evolve as people, like you're saying. And if you get too nichey, not even about just your content, but it's like your name and where everybody can find you, they're not going to do that. Right. So that's the reason I changed mine, was just because I was changing my niche. I was going into a completely different community. And I'm glad I went with my name instead of a different, because I was just thinking of maybe a different, like a wig type name. It's funny. I'm interested in the wigs to waist length. I could never figure out what that meant. Like, you only liked wigs that went to the waist length? Like, how long is that? What, like, I was always like, what does it mean?
And see, that's the thing. When I came up with it, my channel originally started off as I wanted to do natural hair content. Like I mentioned, I was a big follower of Natural 85 and Mahogany Knots. So I wanted to follow in their footsteps, but I wanted to merge wigs with it. So the premise behind wigs to waist length was, I'm starting off with wigs, but I'm growing my hair to waist length.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then it slowly went from there to where I don't want to do natural hair. And I feel like when you do YouTube, you can sometimes be pressured or feel pressured to continue doing what you started with. And for me, it takes too long. I don't like styling my hair all the time, and I don't want 1,001 products around the house, you know? So over time, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do the natural hair anymore. I want to just do wigs. And what I found was my core audience started off almost with natural hair people. So that was another controversy, another hurdle that I had to go over, because, you know, as people, we evolve, we change our minds, and that's okay. And I changed my mind. I don't want to do natural hair anymore. Now, true, some of my followers got upset about that, and the majority of them unfollowed me and unsubscribed. And they have that, you know, right. They do what you're comfortable with. And I think that's why my name progressively just didn't make sense to me anymore, because it didn't follow my original vision for the channel.
Makes sense.
Well, and the pigeonholing is really, I think it's really kind of in any community, but you know, like Ikoya and I talk about this all the time. There really are very separate, like, you can't be in the natural hair game and also in the wig game. And then there's sort of like the synthetic wig versus the human hair wig. And then where I have found this dichotomy in me is that I've always sat between name brand wigs and affordable beauty supply. And I have had people, like, they don't like it. They have issue with it. You know, you're not doing enough of this. You're doing too much of that. Like, you can get pressured in to be like, you were natural hair. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah. And I get that with the human hair too. You know, I can do a run of like $20 wigs. Here I come with the $250, $300 wig, and it's like, what are you doing? Oh my God, why are you doing this? I thought you did affordability, you know? So it's like, you know, we're human. We have different facets of ourselves, and maybe one day I want to wear the $15 wig, and then the next day I want to wear the $300 wig. You know, why can't I do that? Why can't you do that?
Right. What is your favorite wig that you've ever reviewed? Like, do you have a favorite wig that you just love? Or
I have, okay, so I thought about this, and I'm going to break it up in two. So I'll do synthetic and human. So for synthetic, it's definitely Outre Jenny. Nothing has come close to that.
I
freaking love
Jenny
that wig.
or Junie? Because there's two.
There's Jenny, Jenny.
Ooh, I gotta wait. I gotta make a note.
Look, sales for Jenny about to go up.
When it comes to synthetic wigs, that is my number one favorite, except for the lace, which it was a little wonky, but it's workable. Now for human hair, I don't have a particular wig in mind, but I will say Chris Beauty is definitely like one of my top human hair brands, because you literally take it out the box, you style it, and the hairline is perfect. You do not have to do anything to their units.
What is like, so for somebody who's just starting to wear wigs, or like just getting into it, so we have a lot of people who want to be YouTubers and stuff that listen to the podcast too and to the show too, but we also have people who just wear wigs. What is a tip that you could like give somebody? Because whoo, them hairlines, you guys, I'm trying to tell you, Meekah, them synthetic hairlines, Meekah makes them look like human hair, like so natural. That's what we mean when we say, you know, it looks like human hair, because the hairlines on synthetic wigs to me have gotten so much better, but they used to be real helmety. They used to
Oh
be
my God.
super helmety. And so that's why everybody started doing the pluck, and then they were like, oh, now they, you know, do the plucking. But what is a secret or a tip that you could share?
If you're looking to like finesse your hairlines,
Yeah.
definitely go to like your beauty supply, go to the clearance rack and pick up the wig that's been there for like 5 years and they just want to get rid of it, and it's like $10 or it's $20, you know, whatever fits in your budget, and use that as your practice wig. So for if you're looking to just finesse the hairline, find a cheap synthetic wig that has the 13-inch hairline and use that as your practice wig. Don't
Yeah.
pluck the whole hairline, just do it in sections. And as you progress, you'll see going along the hairline how you're improving, you know, and what you need to work on. If you're looking to like style hair, then of course you're going to have to do a cheap human hair wig that you can just take home. You can, you know, work on bleaching the knots. You can work on plucking. You can work on layering little by little, styling until you get comfortable enough to where you can either do it on a mannequin head or on your own head.
Well, that's great advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so great, and grab them cheap, funky 1975 wigs. They will save you.
Yeah, because you if you do that on one of your more expensive ones, you mess it up. Ooh, you gonna be
You gonna cry. You gonna cry. And I've done it. I have so many wigs that I've got bald spots. I've over bleached the knots, and it's like, you know, brassy blonde in one spot. You know, I've done it.
Yes, I think we all have messing around. Like mine don't make it to the channel though. Mine
Yeah.
doesn't make it to the channel, but yes, I have definitely messed with stuff up. Like, oh well, scrap that one. Nope.
Yeah,
Not
and I did a human hair wig like that. I cut it into a graduated bob, and I cut it so far back that you could see the bottom track.
oh, shoot.
So yeah, I messed that wig up, but I finessed it.
You were like,
No one knew, but I knew, and I threw it away after.
so you were talking about just changes and evolutions. So what are things that you might want to share that you think our audience would really enjoy hearing? Like, what's your life like outside of wigs? You were talking about hobbies earlier. Like, what are the things you're into now that outside of the wig stuff?
Well, I do have 2 kids, so they keep me on my feet. My son is 17. My daughter is 11, going on 15. So I'm dealing with a plethora of hormones and mood swings, you know. So as a mom, they definitely keep me busy. For my me time, lately, I have been dressing up and just going out. I'm working on just feeling good, you know, not only on the outside, but most importantly on the inside. So I'm changing it up, but like maybe 2 months ago, girl, I'm busted. I'm running to Walmart, you know, like I said, got a spaghetti stain on my shirt. You know, I'm really introverted and I'm really a homebody. You know, I feel like I can talk to the camera because it feels like I'm just talking to myself, you know, or just one intimate person. But in real life, I'm really shy. I'm really reserved. Like I said, I'm a homebody. My type of ideal day beforehand would be sitting on a couch and just binge watching like Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, or you know, any of my shows on TV like SVU, Law and Order SVU. Now I'm all about like being out. I love going to parks by water. I love walking. So I'm trying to, you know, I'm slowly feel like I'm evolving into something else. But yeah, I'm regular. I'm like
Yes.
everybody else, waiting in the line, complaining.
so so what's next for you on your digital creator journey, your social media journey? Are you gonna continue? I know, of course, you'll probably continue with your YouTube channel, but are you doing other things? Are you gonna have some other things coming up that we should be looking for, or anything you want to share?
I do have like some ideas in my head for my channel
Okay.
that I want to implement. But of course, like Tia said, when you are pigeonholed into
Yeah.
one area, and it's not only by your subscribers, it's also by YouTube.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that is a very big challenge. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do wigs one day and then talk about you know, cars the next.
Right.
YouTube's like, what you doing?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. The
you
algorithm
messing
be
us
slipping.
up. So I do have some things that I do want to implement into my channel, or possibly start a new channel. Haven't really tried, haven't really thought about it. I would love to talk about like more mature things for women who are in their 40s,
Mhm.
in different life situations, but I just haven't really planned how to do that.
And then also other platforms. Are you looking to do more on other platforms too? Other social media
Yes.
platforms?
Yes. So, and oh man, my Instagram has been suffering so bad. I feel like I'm more engaging on Facebook. It's just easier and more
Mm-hmm.
accessible for me for some reason. But I definitely want to be more relatable on Instagram. I'm having fun over at TikTok. However, TikTok is under Wigs to Wasteland. And
Okay.
my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are under Meekah Lynne. I don't know why. I can't change. But I am looking to definitely grow on those platforms, and be more personable instead of what I'm doing right now, which I feel is more pitchy, and I'm not liking it.
No.
Yeah.
I feel you because I recently started a second channel and have been putting out some videos on why I separated myself out. Um, and so I totally understand where you're coming. It was kind of scary. It is still scary to start a new channel. I forgot there's like, so Corey and I were talking about this because we have a channel for our podcast as well. And like, we forgot there's things that you can't do before you're monetized. I'm like,
Yeah.
why can't I just do this? Or why can't we just go live? Or
Mm,
like, why can't we do? Because I had forgotten that those aren't just available to everybody. I was like,
Yeah.
so,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
they changed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Certain thresholds you have to hit, because I started doing Equoia TV back again instead of just Silky Sacks, because the same thing, like, I know people come there for wigs and hair, but I don't just want to talk about that. I really want to talk about my other passion, which is business. So I've revived that too. So I get it. It's YouTube, even though I love it, that is one of the things about it, is you definitely pigeonholes you, just like you said, the algorithm, the audience, everything. So that's why
Yep.
you see people doing multiple channels and multiple things. So before we go, what advice would you give somebody who might be listening or watching who wants to start YouTube? What is some beginner advice you would give to that person?
Be like Nike and just do it. Especially for women, you know, you tend to think I'm not pretty enough, you know, I'm too dark, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too busy. Whatever the case may be, just do it. You don't need the fancy setup. People are looking more now, more than ever, people are looking for authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think the smaller channels will have an advantage because they will have that grassroots feel that people
Mhm.
can pretty much more
Yeah.
relate to,
Yeah.
and it seems more genuine. So
Mhm.
when you you know, I feel like the basic is now going to stand out
Yeah.
compared to that, you know, the high quality was standing out a couple of years
Yeah.
ago. Now
Yeah.
the basic, like, okay, she has her camera and it's like right here and she's holding it and she's just showing the wig, you know,
Yeah.
that type of thing. That is more authentic. So
Yeah.
don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in the influencers influencing you. Just get up and do it. You know, if you're bored one day, do your makeup. Just sit there and hold the camera and talk and talk. Just
Yeah.
talk and do it.
I agree. And I think that's too why TikTok is having the run that it's having, because I think
Yes.
of all the platforms, it's the most authentic. People are just literally turn on their phones, talking, doing things, whereas YouTube, Instagram, a lot of these other ones who've been around longer are super produced. And so I think you're right.
Yes.
I agree 100%. So thank you so much, Meekah, for taking
Yes.
the time to come on the show. We really appreciate it. So again, you can be found as Meekah Lynne on YouTube. Instagram and Facebook, right? And then
Yes.
Wigs Wavelength on TikTok. So
Yes.
we will put all that in the description box for you guys watching
Yep.
on YouTube, and for you listening, we're going to have it on the show notes. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Happy
Thank you, Koya.
that
Thank you,
came
Tia.
on to the show. Yeah.
I'll have
Definitely.
to,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm coming to see Akoya soon, so we'll have to pop in and have a little
Yeah.
like a little FaceTime situation where we get all together.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being
ladies.
here.
I definitely appreciate it. You eased my nerves. I'm smiling. My cheeks hurt. I'm trying to stop crying, but it's the nerves kicking in, but they hurt.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. Make sure to go ahead and rate this episode. Give it a like if you're watching it, and we will see you next Wednesday.
All righty.
Okay, bye. If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to help support the Wig Life podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating or review wherever you like to listen.
To stay up to date with the Wig Life podcast, visit our website and follow us on socials everywhere at Wig Life Podcast. See you.